Today is July 29th, 2025, and I am conducting an oral history interview for Carver by the Minnesota. On the Minnesota, thank you. My name is Daniel Hoisington, and I am the narrator, and I am interviewing, the subject of the interview is Dwight Schultz. So what year were you born?
1942.
Okay, so in the middle of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Did your father serve?
No, he did not.
Okay, because he was a farmer, or?
Because he was farming.
Okay. And where were you living when you grew up, those early years?
I grew up on the farm in rural Carver, and how far do you want me to go here?
Yeah, this is what you were doing.
Okay, I grew up on the farm, and then I went to high school in Chaska, Minnesota, and after that I did 4 years in the Air Force, came home and bought my parents' home, and lived there ever since.
Okay. Where did you go to elementary school then?
East Union.
Okay, yeah. So was that just one room?
1 through 6, 2 rooms.
2 rooms, okay. Did all the people speak English?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Sometimes that happened out in a country school, that you got people coming in, like your heritage of German, but your family had been here for a number of years.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you went to Carver High School, you graduated, and then you went into the military?
No, I went to Chaska High School.
Chaska High School, I'm sorry, yes.
Uh-huh. Yes, and into the military.
What branch of the military?
Air Force.
Okay. Why did you choose the Air Force?
I didn't really have an option. I was sitting in a bar across the street here, and my friend came in and says, "I'm going in the Air Force tomorrow and you're going along." I says, "I don't think so." Well, I was wrong. I went with him and loved every minute of it.
Were you stationed at some interesting places over there?
San Antonio, Texas for my boot camp, and Wichita Falls for my schooling, and Tacoma, Washington for the next 3.5 years.
What Air Force base is out in Tacoma?
McCord Field.
Oh, sure. So then you got out of the Air Force, came back home, and what did you do right when you came back home then?
Well, I had to find a job, and so my first job was out at the Hazeltine Golf Course. I was a mechanic out there, and I stayed there a year, and then I went to the gravel pit in town here, and I stayed there for the next many years. Then I went into my own business.
What did you do at the gravel pit? What was your?
I was an operator, heavy equipment operator, and then I became foreman and then superintendent, and then I went out on my own.
So what was your business?
Pardon me?
What business did you start up then?
I started in a excavating and trucking business. So we had dump trucks and excavators, and we'd done basements for large executive homes down around the Minneapolis area out to as far as Buffalo. Yeah.
Where was your office?
At home.
Well, you worked out of your home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. And how many people worked for you in your best
Oh,
years?
we had up to 10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like it was a successful business over the years for you?
It done well.
Did you continue? How long did you continue with that?
Until 2007. We did a lot of snow plowing also in the winter, so we were busy year-round.
So you were familiar with Carver back in the 50s,
Yes.
growing up,
Yep.
and into the 60s. Then, what years were you in the Air Force and away?
I was in the Air Force from January 1971 till January 65.
Okay, okay. What was the town like in the 50s and 60s, early 60s?
It was very small. I think 480, 90 people. And it was just relaxed, and everybody worked together. I mean, if we had anything to do, it seemed like there was a large party that would do it. And the ladies would make dinners for the guys, and it was just a community.
How did you get into Minneapolis?
Well, that was a long drive. That was a long drive, and Hopkins was a long ways away. But Minneapolis, we did not do very much. Yeah.
So what route would you take to get in to, say,
7.
Hopkins? Okay.
Highway 7 or 5.
Yeah. Okay. And there weren't all the suburbs around that we have now.
No.
It was pretty isolated. The river. How important was the river growing up? Did you go down and play down there?
Actually, no. The river seemed to be a threat all my life. We were told and told and told to stay away from that thing. Don't go in it, because it was unforgiving.
So you didn't go out fishing on it?
No, not on the river.
Okay, or a small rowboat kind of thing at all? You would have stayed away from it?
We stayed away from it. Our parents were deathly afraid of it.
Ah.
And it flooded our land.
Did it?
Every time it did, yes.
Okay.
Some of it, not all of it.
So how did you get in from your home to Carver then, if the river was high?
Well, my home in town, do you mean? Or where I
When you were
live?
living out in the country.
Out on the farm?
Yeah.
Then the river basically didn't cross the road coming into Carver, except for a few times. So it was usually open.
Okay. But it would, assuming during flooding, the road going east was going to be shut off for quite a while, wasn't it? Was there a bridge directly across from Carver to the other side?
No,
Well, there wasn't.
no.
Okay.
Chaska and Jordan had bridges, and they would be closed.
Okay.
So yeah, you just lived without.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got involved in the fire department.
I did.
What got you into decide to join the fire department?
Well, I was working in town. The gravel pit was in town, and I happened to be in town, and our siren, well, we didn't have, yes, we had just a siren, and it went off, and my friend Dick Lunson says, "Come with me, we gotta go to a fire." And I was not a fireman. And it was a mobile gas station in Chaska, and it was a terrible fire. The owner's wife perished in it. She was 8 months pregnant, and the day after that fire, the department had a meeting, and it was a regular fireman's meeting, and Dick Lenson put $1 in, and that's how he would sponsor, or they would sponsor new members. They put $1 in, and if the fire department accepted that $1, they accepted the person. And that's how I got in.
It seemed like an easy way to...
Yeah, way different than today.
Did you have to do training?
Actually not. We did training as we always had it once a month. on the regular training, but it was nothing special. It was just what the whole troop went through.
What type of engine or engines did you have?
Our new one was a 1954 Chevrolet, 1,000-gallon water tank on it and a 250-gallon-a-minute pump. And then we had a 1927 GMC, and that was it.
Did you help maintain them? You seem to be mechanically gifted.
Actually, we did not. We had one person that he was a mechanic in town. He had a shop, and he kind of took care of them.
Who was the fire chief when you started?
The fire chief when I started was Ron Riesgraft.
He was apparently fire chief for a number of years, long time.
Many years, yes, he was. Over 20. Excuse me 1 second. And later, I became assistant fire chief for 13 years.
So people will not know Ron Riesgraff. Tell me what kind of leader he was, what kind of person he was.
Oh boy, that's a tough question. Okay, I'm going to say he was completely involved in the fire department. It was his and only his. But he was a good chief. He took care. And other than that, I don't want to go into that too far.
Okay. What type of range did you usually have to go for the fire department? How far?
Oh, well, we went out to halfway to Cologne, halfway to Chaska, and halfway to Jordan. They all met in different places. But we went on a lot of mutual aids. We'd go as far as Savage on a mutual aid.
And that means you're helping out the local fire department?
Right.
Okay.
When it was too much for the other one, then they'd call in mutual aid.
Okay. Other than the ballroom, which we're going to talk about, what was the worst fire you can remember that you had to go work with?
Well, that very first one of mine was tough. It was tough to see. And we had barn fires, and we had where the cattle perished. That's not fun to see. And we never had anyone get seriously injured, other than a little smoke, too much smoke. Our uniforms were very poor. They were just almost leather. They were not good, especially in winter. They were very cold. We had accidents that were terrible to see, and we had not a fire, but a gas leak in town where 2 children perished. That was not fun. Other than that, it was a very good experience because of the teamwork going together. I can tell you a kind of a fun story when we got a brand new fire truck in, I don't know, maybe 1975 or in there somewhere. And our chief, Ron, of course, it was traditional. He had to have red trucks. Well, at the time, we voted to get a lime green truck, and that didn't go over very well with him. But the first fire for that truck was down by the mill. We had a large feed mill down by the railroad tracks where Casey's are now. And a train car was, the brakes were on fire, and the train unhooked the thing, and they went on to Chaska and left it sit by us, burning right by the mill. So we got the fire out with that new truck, and then we thought, you know, they shouldn't have done that. So we unloaded all of that wood, the good wood, and we took it down and put a new roof on our baseball stadium. And then we took that car and pushed it to Chaska, and they got blamed for stealing the wood. So that was a fun day.
I'm glad you could tell the story after 50 years.
Well, you aren't going to forget. You aren't going to forget doing something like that.
Yeah. Wow. So, 1965, the flood. You were in town, still at that point. What was that like?
Okay, I was new in town. You know, I came home in January, and I think that flood was in April. And there wasn't a whole lot we could do about it. I remember how high it got that time. And boats, they used boats all over town to get around, evacuate people. And afterward, the cleanup of the basements and so forth. And the fire department always got involved in that.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Whenever there was a need, we all got together and got with it.
You forget that the fire departments had to do a lot of things that, well, did you have an emergency, or did you were the emergency people in those days?
Yes, yes.
Where now we have ER teams.
Exactly.
So did you get called out? You got called out for accidents and things?
All the time.
Okay.
Yes, we actually had a group that got into being professional paramedics, and yeah, in the early days, yeah. Chaska Fire Department had the ambulance, so anytime we needed that, the Chaska Fire Department's ambulance would come. And of course there's firemen on there, so again we worked together.
So when the river started flooding, quite often, finally after 65, did the fire department expect to have to go out and help with sandbagging? And
Oh yes, actually the fire department, other than a couple of guys on the city council, the fire department pretty much was in charge of, not in charge, but did the work. They organized. And because there wasn't another group, we had a little baseball group, but the fire department was we didn't have lions at the time, so fire department was probably the gang on duty.
how far did the water come up in 65?
Up here's the ice cream shop now. It was a restaurant for years. It was a tavern, but it's on this street, and at the corner of the next street, it came up to the landing on the front door.
Okay.
So this was underwater.
Well, did anybody lose their lives at that time?
I can't recall ever losing anybody. We lost 2 people in this town from the river, but, well, actually more than that, 3 or 4. But that was actually their own doings.
Okay.
They shouldn't have been playing around where they were.
Okay. Was it drowning, basically?
Yeah, they drowned.
Okay. Okay. So how long was this town out of sort of commission after the 65 flood? Did
You
it
know,
take a month?
I would say, I can't tell you exactly. I don't remember. Those floods sometime would go down in a week, and sometimes it was a long time.
So when did they decide to build up the levee and everything?
Well, I believe that was in 1968 then. 67, I think they were going to start on it. Well, it was a little late, and so I believe 68, all guns came together.
Okay. Over your career, have you done any of the work? I mean, if you're doing moving land and
Yes, we worked on the dike a lot, and mostly that was volunteer.
Okay.
On my part, because I was a citizen in town, and we had the company in town.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had a bulldozer on from the gravel pit on the very first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I pushed clay down from up on the hills in 2 or 3 places around that we could get that clay. And William Miller and Sons were the contractors to say on there. And everybody pitched in with them. The county had trucks on in them. Anybody that had a truck or a bulldozer, it was out there.
I'm curious, since you were involved, I don't know how you construct a levee. What is it, just earth?
Dirt, yeah. You
Just
had to
dirt.
have clay.
You have
You
clay?
couldn't
Is that a
have
basic?
sand. You couldn't have. You had to have good compactable clay.
Okay. And what's the typical height that you're going to go up on a levee here? How tall were they usually?
The what?
How tall was the levee down here, for example? Is that like 10 feet? You had to go
Oh,
up?
I can't tell you.
Okay. Just curious about. Did they put in gates of any sort at different spots?
We put piping in
Okay.
because you had to drain the city when there was no flood, and we put pumping stations in. Some was done later. Yes, we had to do all of that. Our most difficult part was at the railroad tracks that come through town, to get dirt around those tracks so it wouldn't leak. That was not easy. But it worked for how many years? 25 or 30, yeah.
Okay. Was there a train station in town? Depot? Was there a depot in town, by the way?
We had 2 depots at
Two?
one time, yeah.
Okay. And where were they?
There was one up on 6th Street and Mount Hope Road. That was a sugar beet depot. We had sugar beet line going through here over to Chaska to the plant. They had a crystal sugar there. And then we had one right where the store is down there, Casey's.
Okay. And so what was the main line that came through? Not the sugar beet one.
No, that was, the main line came across the river from Merriam Junction and Shakopee.
Okay. Good. I want to talk about the ballroom a little bit.
Okay,
Were you on the crew out there when it burned?
I was, and I'm still cold from it.
So January, was it cold night?
30 below.
And how did you get notified that there was a fire at 3 a.m.?
We were notified with a phone call. There was several people that were designated with certain people to call when the siren went, and so that's how I got called by telephone.
Okay. And you went and said to your family, I've got to go?
Well, they didn't care.
They didn't care, okay.
They were sleeping.
They were used to you going out
Yep.
in the middle of the night and doing that.
Yep.
So you came down to the fire station first to gather
The
here?
fire station was up there, yeah.
Okay. And how long did it take to get the fire engine and you guys in uniform to head out?
Well, that only takes 10 minutes, maybe less.
Okay.
Less, because we'd get dressed on the run. We didn't have all the gear they have today.
So it must have been pretty spectacular when you got out there and saw the flames, because
It was.
did you figure that was a loss at that point?
Well, we knew it was not going to be saved. But for some reason, Ron had us squirt water at it or pump water to it because we didn't have a source of water down there. We couldn't dare crawl down the bank to get in the river and chop a hole in there. That was unsafe. And so all we had was the water that we could haul down there. And like Chaska came as a mutual aid, but their one truck was too big, too high to get under the bridge, and so we were kind of lonely down there.
Lonely. That's
Yeah.
a good description of.
It was. You stand there with nothing you could do.
Yeah. Did you ever walk into that building and go, boy, this could easily go up?
I don't think so. That building was a gem to many, many, many people. There was weddings there. There was firemen's dances there. There was celebrations one after another, and there were several of them around the neighborhood, countryside, whatever. Chaska had the Valley Ballroom, and those were a very popular thing for families at the time. We didn't have what we have today for the children, but even the kids went there, and I seen a person perish on the middle of the dance floor. Had a heart attack, and we lost him. But good times there.
Yeah. So this is some place that you went regularly?
We went regularly.
What nights, when was it open?
Well, usually a Saturday night or a Friday night, and then down in those around that, we also would have the like a county fair there. We had buildings and the baseball park around there, and it was just a good place for the community to go. Mm-hmm.
Can you dance?
A little bit. I never was very good at it.
Okay. We won't ask other people whether you were a good dancer or not.
But you know, even if you didn't dance, you just had a good time there, visiting and having a drink or two. Most people behaved very well. Yeah.
Nice. Was it open during the winter?
Yeah, we had dances in the winter.
Okay.
And one interesting thing about that, my dad and my uncle were contractors in Carver and builders, home builders, and the owner at the time, I believe it was Lord Hutenbecker, had my dad and my uncle cut the dance floor in 8-foot pieces, and they could raise it up to the ceiling. And my dad and my uncle done that, and they never got to use it. It burnt down before a flood would come, and because that floor was, you had to keep that floor good so people didn't trip, and during dancing, so he decided to do that, but they never got to try it.
Okay. So it was used for, he would open it up for just general dance nights?
Yes, it was dancing. I don't think it ever was for like dinners and weddings itself. It was a wedding dance. They always had wedding dances for the young couple.
Sure, sure. A good business to.
And I believe the fire department at one time managed that dance hall. I don't know if the city owned it or if the fire department owned it, but I can recall knowing my neighbor was pretty much in charge of the dance hall at that time, and then private citizen bought it.
The annual Fireman's Ball dance was down there.
It was.
So, was that a big evening here in town?
It was, yes. They had water fights and they had, with the barrel, the water fights, and it was a big deal.
Tell me about what is a water fight?
Okay. We get teams from each town and with their best hosmen, and they put a 15-gallon drum in the middle of the street, and had side rails on there, and you'd hold your hose up like that, and the referee would blow his whistle, and you'd go after that barrel. And sometimes the barrel come flying by you immediately, and sometimes it was a pretty good fight. And neighboring fire departments were involved in it.
Were you guys pretty good?
Carver, they weren't too bad. Not too bad. It wasn't me, but yeah, we had a good team.
So you weren't a hostman, or you just weren't
No,
the best hostman?
I usually throughout my years I was either on the engine or be an assistant chief. So the chiefs didn't do the hose work.
Okay.
Other management.
Yeah. So what did the town lose when the ballroom burned down?
Do that one again.
What was it? How was the town different then after the ballroom burned down? You didn't have the place to go.
Those kind of things kind of slowed up because Chaska was gone already, and that was flooded all the time also, and it just kind of slowed up. The newer generations didn't get into it like my parents did. We survived without it. I think it just was a passing thing.
Okay. I'd like to walk around town a little bit, just in the 60s and 70s. So you're a young man starting, your life, your career. Where did you like to go to eat in town?
Well, we only had one place, it was Kramer's Cafe, and it was good. There again, in those years, to go out to eat, a young family going out to eat was very rare. We didn't have the money for it. If you went to the county fair, you usually took a sandwich along. There was not a lot of money to go around. During the war years, my dad had to take a tire off the wagon and put on the car to go to church. So like I say, there wasn't money to waste. But we always came to town, and we always had a good time. Dad would give us each a quarter, and we could go and blow that on some ice cream or candy because there was a lot of little festivals in town. Mm-hmm.
You could get by pretty good with a quarter in
Oh
those
yes,
days.
oh yes, yeah.
So where did you go for groceries?
Chaska usually.
Okay. Wasn't anything here in town really?
They had a small grocery in town most of the time, but it was very small. You couldn't buy all the items you needed.
Yeah. Could you buy men's clothes in town?
Well, you could right in this building at one time.
In this building?
Yeah. It was a hardware, and they had men's overalls and yeah.
Okay. So you could do a lot of different shopping in here. So a hardware store is different than we picture it nowadays, you know, when you go to Menards or something like that.
Right. It was very basic. They sold machinery here. They sold Minnesota machinery here that was made in Stillwater prison. The name of the people was the Hay Bison Brothers, and yes, you could come to town and get canvas for your grain binders, farm equipment, and you could buy a lot of horse things and wagons you could buy, hay loaders, and then we had a blacksmith shop up the street, and we had a car dealership up the street, and I think 5 saloons, so that was taken care of.
5 saloons?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
This gas station.
So who was the car dealership? What kind of cars?
Chevrolet Buick, Dualter Motors. And then we had the mill. We bring our feed to town to grind for our cows at the mill. Mm-hmm.
And that again is all, that whole network is all changed, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
So where do people take their stuff nowadays? Where does it go to?
Well, most of the farmers do have their own machinery.
Okay.
Yes, and we have so very few cattle in this area anymore that it's a thing of the past.
Okay.
We got more horses than cows.
Could women buy clothes in town?
I can't say. Maybe in the earlier days, I'm sure there was in the earlier days.
Okay.
Because Chaska then was a long ways away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't a mall to drive off to.
No, there was not.
So again, things keep changing on us.
Right.
I guess maybe that's our.
And I'll tell you, I don't think that I had store-bought clothes until I went to pretty late in school. And my mom made them all,
Okay.
hat and all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's nice. The town leaders. Who were some of the important people who made Carver go?
Well, the mayor, all the mayors were important, and again the citizens. You didn't need to have what you're gonna call a leader, because everybody kind of got involved in getting it done. Yeah, there was some people that were more involved, but basically it was not like today, where everybody seemed to, if they wanted to, get involved.
Was there one mayor that stands out?
I'm going to say John Lenzen and Tom Larson. I don't know if both of them were mayor, but they were about my age. In fact, they were my age, and they were a couple of go-getters. When the dike needed doing, they were pretty much in there. I think it was a Rob that was mayor at the time, and he worked with them also.
Did you know who the well-to-do families were in town? The ones who had a little bit of money and a better car?
Actually, I guess I didn't ever look at that. I really didn't. Yes, there was in Chaska, the Klein brothers, which were probably known statewide, and they had mansions there, and I remember going tricks and treating at their house and getting a half-a-cent piece of candy. We thought, boy, this is good, but yeah, and that's why they had their money, I guess.
But no house like that where in trick-or-treating in town where you knew that they were going to give you something really good?
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds, and were there, do you remember poor people in town particularly?
Yes, there was a lot of poor people.
Okay.
I remember, I guess, and maybe they don't do it today anymore, but at Christmas, the firemen would always give bags of candies and treats to the children. The Lions do it now. And then we would take the rescue truck and we would go to all the shut-ins, all the older people, even that were in nursing homes that were from Carver, and we'd give them a bag. And I remember I did it many years. I was Santa Claus many years, but we had a priest up in the church at St. Nicholas. His name was Father Rowland, and he loved frogs. So everything was frogs up there, but anyhow, I brought his bag of candy up to him.
Yeah.
And he says, we have to have a drink. I says, really? Yep. And he says, we're going to have three fingers. And we're going to use your fingers because they're bigger than mine. And so we had to do that. But that was fun.
Yeah. So, again, getting back to the fire department, how much of a center to Carver it was, and how many different things you were doing, right?
Yes.
When did that really start shifting?
Well, that shifted. I would say I got out in '91, and it was starting to decline then. We had a ladies' auxiliary, and they would come to every night fire we had with sandwiches in the back of a station wagon, and treat the guys. And when we got back to the station, they would help clean up. And now that isn't going to happen. That isn't going to happen.
It sounds as if the Lions came in and took over.
They did, but like I say, now we got girls in the fire service, which is wonderful, to use their talents, and it isn't homey anymore.
Sort of to wrap things up a little bit, just think about if you were to tell somebody about what life was like in Carver in your early adulthood.
Life in Carver was simple, yet it was interesting, and because everybody seemed to know everybody, and they probably knew what color socks you had on, and that was always a good thing. We would help the poor people probably more than they do today. They get neglected today, but we made sure that they had a hot cup of coffee. Mm-hmm.
And you pretty much knew everybody in town, didn't you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I like your comment about knowing what color socks.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So, did some people want to get away from all of that into the big city so nobody knew who they were? Or?
Oh, the young people scattered.
Yeah.
They did. Farming was slacking off also at that time. Yes, they scattered.
I'm curious, how did farming change from when you were or growing up out on the farm to what it is today?
Okay, I grew up with horses and mules, and we had one tractor, and today it's pretty much remote control.
It's
And
amazing.
large.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Have the crops and livestock changed?
No. The livestock has. Every farm milked cows at that time. And they always had a good saying, a milk truck that picked up the cans, he could go 30 miles and he had a load. And now, there isn't 30 farms in that area that have milk.
That's quite a change.
Quite a change. It's an all-day run to get a load of milk.
Yeah. Did they have a creamery in town?
We had a creamery in town. Yes, we did.
Where was that?
That was up at the end of this street.
Okay. Is the building gone now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So every town would have had a...
Every town had a creamery and a feed mill.
Yeah.
In fact, we had 5 mills in this town at one time.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Well, certainly thank you for your service that you've done over the years for the community, certainly in the fire department. Would you tell people to move to Carver nowadays?
I believe so. I believe so.
How come?
If you want to be involved with people, they're here to get involved with on a good basis. And they are here, and there's beautiful people that live here. I know many of them, and they're new people, and yes, they're great.
Great. Thank you. That's going to end our formal interview on a nice note.